alaikum. Welcome to a new episode for grade 10. In today's episode, we will learn grammar and language functions from Unit 2. Let's start with the present perfect. What do you know about the present perfect? Let's take a look at those two examples. Lulu has baked a delicious cake for today's gathering. Take a close look at this example. Let's read the second example. Faisal and Ahmed have rented a new car recently. You see here, in both examples, I highlighted two words in yellow. Why do you think I did that? The present perfect has a very simple rule, which is to use have or has plus the verb in the past participle. For example, Lulu has baked a delicious cake for today's gathering. Has here indicates that this sentence is in the present perfect. Baked is in the past participle. Every single verb coming after has must be in the past participle. Let's take a look at the second example. Faisal and Ahmed have rented a new car recently. Have also indicates that this sentence is in the present perfect and the verb coming after it in the past participle, because every single verb in the present perfect coming after have or has always in the past participle. Now you may ask yourself, why did I use have in this sentence and why did I use has in the first sentence? We use have with the plural, like Faisal and Ahmed, they're two. They is a plural, so we use have with the plural. If the subject is a singular one, like Lulu here, we use has. And don't forget, the verb coming after has or have is always in the past participle. Now the question is, when do I use the present perfect? There are three cases where we should use the present perfect. The first one, when something happened and has a connection to the present. Okay? The second case is when something has just finished. And the third one is when something happened in the past and continued to happen and maybe in the future will continue to happen. Okay? So let's take a look at each case with an example for it. If something happened in the past and has a connection to the present, we use the present perfect for it. For example, this is the restaurant that I have visited with my friends. So something happened in the past, which is have visited. I have visited this restaurant with my friends, and it has a connection with the present because I'm pointing at the restaurant now. This is the restaurant that I have visited with my friends. That's why I'm using the present perfect. When something has just finished, I will also use the present perfect, saying, I have just visited this restaurant with my friend. So this thing has just finished, I use the present perfect for it. If something happened in the past and continued, and it might continue until the future, I also use the present perfect for it. For example, they have lived in this house since 2009. Now I want you to pay attention. In these sentences, you will find words that indicate the present perfect, like the word since. They have lived in this house since 2009. Now the word since tells me, it looks like a keyword. It tells me that this sentence is in the present perfect, as well as the word just. It indicates that this sentence is in the present perfect. If I want to use the present perfect in the negative form, how am I going to use it? For example, has. Noura has done her homework. If I want to change the sentence from the affirmative form to the negative form, I will say Noura hasn't done her homework. So I will add not to the word has. It will be hasn't. For example, I can also say Noura hasn't done her homework yet. The word yet here is also a keyword that indicates that this sentence is in the present perfect. We use it for the negative form. Also, for the present perfect negative, when we're using have, I will say they have traveled to Australia. If I want to change this affirmative sentence into a negative one, I will say they haven't traveled to Australia. They haven't traveled to Australia. You see here, I added not to the word have, and the verb remains in the past participle. Is it clear? Let's move on. Now we use the present perfect also in forming questions, but what kind of questions? The yes and no questions. We will start it with has or have. For example, has she tried to cook Chinese food? The answer will be yes or no. Another example is have. Have you ever visited Spain? The answer will be also yes or no. So using the present perfect in the question form, usually for yes or no questions. Now, I mentioned before there are keywords for the present perfect that you should look for when the sentence is in the question. Words like just, yet, never, already, ever, so far, up to now, and recently are all words that indicate that this sentence is in the present perfect, so look for them. For example, when I use never in a sentence, I will use the present perfect with it. I have never seen such a big apple, for example. Or you can use the word recently. She has bought a new house recently. Can you take a look at the verb here? Bought. Has bought. Has here indicates that this sentence is in the present perfect and the verb coming after it is in the past participle. Well done. Now I want you to check your understanding. Take a look at those two sentences. Fajr has lived in this house since 2001. Or Fajr lived in this house since 2001. Which sentence is better? Or which sentence is correct? Think. Look for keywords and look or check the verbs. You're correct. The first sentence. Fajr has lived in this house since 2001. Now, because I have the word since, I know that this sentence will be in the present perfect. So I added has and the verb in the past participle. Now, let's learn more about preposition. You all know the prepositions. Time prepositions. In. Now, we use in when we want to refer to months, seasons, years, period of time, or time of the day. For example, when I say, I visited Thailand in August, in summer, in 2007. Now, in August is a month. In summer is a season. In 2007 is a year. So we use in if we're talking about months, seasons, years, period of time, or time of the day. At is also a time preposition. We use it when we speak about night, weekends, and used to show an exact or a particular time. When you want to refer to a specific time, you will use the time preposition at. For example, there is a meeting at 3 a.m. So here I'm referring to a specific time at 3 a.m. Okay? Another example, when I say, I will meet my friends at the weekend. So at the weekend is when I refer to the weekend. This is also a time preposition. On is always used for days if we want to use it as a time preposition. I have a doctor appointment on Monday. Because I'm referring to a day, I will use on. Now let's take a look at the place prepositions. Amongst. It means surrounded. Okay? It's not between. It means surrounded, all around you. I have worked amongst the best at that company. Okay? So among means surrounded. Okay? Another place preposition is on. Remember, we took on for days if it was used as a time preposition. If I want to use it as a place preposition, I will mean on top of, like on the table. The vase is on the table. So on means on top of. In, when it's used as a place preposition, it means inside. I knocked at the door. No one was in the house. So inside the house. And there are other prepositions. For example, for. When you use for, you are connecting two things together. For example, when you say, I waited for 2 hours to see the doctor. So you are connecting your situation to the time. So you use the word for to connect between them. Another example is with. She went to the mall with her friends. So you are connecting her situation of going to the mall with her friend's situation going with her. So those are other preposition uses. Now, after your prepositions, let's take the order of adjectives. What do you know about adjectives? Adjectives are simply words we use to describe nouns, but we should put them in the right order when it comes to describing. Remember this word, osas comp. Whenever you come across a question in the exam that orders you to put the adjectives in order, remember this word, osas comp. O stands for opinion. S stands for the size. A is for age. S again is for shape. C is for color. O is for origin. M is for material. And P is for purpose. Now this is the right order. Okay? Another trick to knowing the order of adjective is to think about it as it starts with an opinion and ends with a fact. For example, if the material is wooden, this is not an opinion. This is a fact that this thing is a wooden door, for example. And if we're talking about opinion, for example, beautiful, okay, this is your opinion. Other people won't find what you find beautiful as you see, okay? So the order of adjectives starts with an opinion and ends with a purpose and material. Remember that, osas comp. Now open your student's book, page 14, exercise 4, and let's do it together. Complete the phrases with the adjectives given to you. Make sure you put the adjective in the correct order. A building. And they put the order as gray, round, small. B, a vase. Wooden, beautiful, blue. Remember the word osas comp. C, a man. Athletic, tall, thin. D, a salad. Green, huge, delicious. So how are you going to put these adjectives in order? Remember, osas comp. Opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. We will start with A, small, round, gray building. B, a beautiful blue wooden vase. C, A. Thin, tall, athletic man. D. Delicious, huge, green salad. Okay? If you got it right, well done. Now, let's learn more about language functions. Now, when a language functions question comes across in the exam, imagine yourself in this situation. Write exactly what you would say in this situation and answer in full grammatical sentence, meaning you shouldn't write okay or yes. You should write a full sentence. Let's take a look at some examples. You had an amazing dinner at a restaurant. You want your friends to try it. Now think, if you want your friends to try this restaurant, what are you going to say? You have to try the restaurant I visited last night. The food was amazing. So you suggested the restaurant to your friends. This is giving suggestions, okay? You see here, it's full grammatical sentence. You have to try the restaurant I visited last night. Another example is, your friend gets lost all the time while driving. So imagine yourself looking at your friend, gets lost all the time while driving. What are you going to tell them? Think and then answer. I think you should invest in a navigator immediately. So here, what did you do? You gave advice. Giving advice is a great answer for this question. I think you should invest in a navigator immediately. In this episode, we learned grammar and language functions. In the grammar, we learned the present perfect, the affirmative, the negative, and forming questions. In the prepositions, we learned the time and place prepositions, and we did not forget the order of adjectives. In language functions, we gave you tips to answer, giving advice, and suggestions. Thank you very much for watching the episode. See you soon.